Suta said of Brahmanas, hearing all about Sri Narada's birth and activities, Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God and son of Satyavati, inquired as follows.
Prabhu, it's off air.
Now it's on air. It's live now. Noticed? Yeah, now.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, you can read the translation, Mataji. The purport.
Vyasdev was further inquisitive to know about the perfection of Naradji, and therefore he wanted to know about him more and more. In this chapter, Naradji will describe how he was able to have a brief audience with the Lord while he was absorbed in the transcendental thought of separation from the Lord, and when it was very painful for him.
Okay, very interesting chapter. You'll learn so many things today. Sri Vyasadeva said, what did you, Narada, do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in a scientific transcendental knowledge about the beginning of your present birth? Yes, Mataji.
Vyasdev himself was a disciple of Naradji, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what Narad did after initiation from the spiritual masters. He wanted to follow in Narada's footsteps in order to attain to the same perfect stage of life. This desire to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. This process is technically known as Sadharma Pricha.
Okay. So the Narada's perfection is unique, From a small son of a maidservant, he has become the greatest devotee. So definitely the Vyasadeva is inquisitive on how it has happened. So it can give a path for everybody. See, just like, we used to read one book, I don't know, you people have not read. There was a book called Competition Success Review when you were small children. You have seen that book?
Yes, Prabhu.
So we used to read, success stories from that book. The same way, we are reading success stories from Bhagavatam. Yes. Oh, son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation, and how did you attain this body, having quit your old one in due course?
Sri Narad Muni in his previous life was just an ordinary maidservant's son. So how he became so perfectly transformed into the spiritual body of eternal life, bliss and knowledge is certainly important. Sri Vyasadeva desired him to disclose the facts for everyone's satisfaction.
Oh, great sage, time annihilates everything in due course, and how is it that the subject matter which happened prior to this day of Brahma is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time?
As spirit is not annihilated even after the annihilation of the material body, so also spiritual consciousness is not annihilated. Sri Narad developed this spiritual consciousness even when he had his material body in the previous kalpa. Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness. Prabhu, my voice is not coming clear?
Very clear.
Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of a material body. This consciousness is inferior, destructible, and perverted. But superior consciousness of the supra-mind in the spiritual plane is as good as the spirit soul and is never annihilated. Supra-mind.
Yeah. He has a consciousness of the material body. So what present consciousness is to the medium of material body it is expressed. Correct? Superior consciousness expressed to the medium of material body. This consciousness is inferior, destructible, perverted. But super consciousness or the supra mind in the spiritual plane is as good as the spirit soul and is never annihilated. It's like present consciousness, we forget everything and in the day we forget. Prabhupada says, no, daydream and night dream. He makes a famous joke. Many times he makes a joke. Your night dream lasts for half an hour and you forget it. And you don't take any value of it. Suppose you became the king or you became the beggar in that. Prabhupada, how does it matter? Correct? Suppose in the dream you're a beggar. And tomorrow in another dream you're a king. It doesn't make any sense. It is useless. Both are useless. The same way the day dream is also a dream only because day what is happening because it just lasts for longer, that's all. But both are dreams for the eternal soul. The Prabhupada saying no, but Narada was a complete pure spiritual awakening. So super conscious or the supra mind, he says, is not as good as the spirit soul. That is, as good as the spirit soul. In the sense, it is eternal like the spirit soul, and that will not Sri Narada said, "Oh, great sages who had imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to the great sages who had imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to me departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way."
In his previous life, when Naradji was impregnated with spiritual knowledge by the grace of the great sages, there was a tangible change in his life, although he was only a boy of 5 years. That is an important symptom visible after initiation by a bona fide spiritual master. Actual association of devotees brings about a quick change in life for spiritual realization. How it so acted upon the previous life of Sri Narad Muni is described by and by in this chapter.
See, I'm switching on off my computer because see what is this? They say after initiation there is a complete transformation. A point to be noted, very important point. And we see already transformation has come in our life. Okay? Do you understand this point? You know, I remember when I joined the Bangalore temple, this was 1993, and I was very uncomfortable, and I have to surrender to people. Already we have taken Prabhupada in our heart, and he's glorious. We have fixed our heart. Now one more person. No, the point is that by certain activities that Prabhupada has done, by putting his murti in every temple, he's making his books or law books, he has actually taken a role of an acharya for every devotee de facto. Now, whoever is there in the movement, they take a role in connection to Prabhupada. It's not another person. Whatever role somebody can take, it is in connection, not independent of Prabhupada. See, it's a little different. When Prabhupada was launching his movement, he was not keeping in the temple a murti of his guru. In every temple, every day to Guru Puja to him. Correct? But here, it's unique actually, where in a temple, even though we may have Prabhupada disciples who may take the role of a guru or whatever, but it is Srila Prabhupada who every day we worship. It is his books we read every day. So everybody has a direct, beautiful relation to Srila Prabhupada. And to that extent, he has already delivered him. And to that extent, our spiritual life has already started. It's not that now something new will happen. Suppose, I think most of you, none of us have taken Diksha. So you take a Diksha from ISKCON Guru. It's not that now you'll start chanting Hare Krishna. You're already chanting Hare Krishna. The spiritual life already. Now, in connection to Prabhupada, somebody can do whatever he can do, but there is never in independence of Prabhupada. You got it? Not that now Prabhupada will go and a new person will come in my life. No, that created havoc. That created havoc in spiritual life. In connection to Prabhupada. If somebody can, reimpose your inspire, invigorate, that's a different issue. But never the Prabhupada connection will go away because already Acharya started acting. You got it? Already you have taken shelter of Acharya, already he is acting and already he is preparing you to go back to God. So this kind of a statement that if somebody uses that your life will change after you take now formal Diksha, it's already changed. Already changed. Isn't it? Already you have now started serving Krishna, already desire to serve Krishna has awakened in the heart. So Acharya has already started acting. Now on his behalf somebody can act. That's a separate issue. That's under discussion. Whether we need a living guru or not is a big discussion going on. But the point is very clear. The Srila Prabhupada has already started acting on everybody's heart. Is it clear, Preeti? Does it make sense?
Yes, Prabhu, but then why do I need another spiritual master?
I'm not saying. I'm saying that is under discussion. That is a big subject. It will take few years to discuss it. Since 40 years ISKCON is discussed. What I'm saying here is what is understood easily is that Srila Prabhupada has already started acting in your life. Okay, na? True? You can feel that. He's already acting and already changes occur.
Yes, Prabhu.
After initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, that's a proof. You met a bona fide spiritual master. Just like you are a doctor. Now, if some patient comes to you and his life changes, that means already a bona fide doctor acted, because he became well. Proof of the pudding is in eating is already changed. The patient has, become healthy means doctor has acted. A bona fide doctor has already acted. So because we have got detached from material life and already developed base for spiritual life, a bona fide spiritual master has already acted. Srila Prabhupada has already acted. Now that's a separate issue, which is in the discussion in the moment, and the point that can Srila Prabhupada disciple in what capacity acts in our life? Because in the previous history, in any sampradaya, we don't have the incidence of prosthamas diksha. There is no incidence of that. Okay? Means an acharya is not there, but a diksha is given on his behalf. Such incidence is not there. So reading from that, then going back to Prabhupada's instruction towards his end, there are many interpretations. And one of the interpretations which is accepted by GBC today is that on behalf of Prabhupada, somebody acts as a, what you call as a regular guru. A regular guru, just like, just like if we take the Sampradaya, we have 5,000 years, but we have only 32 acharyas. Okay? So if you study discriminately, there are gaps. Like Vedavyasa is a Madhvacharya is a huge gap. And that gap is okay one way because Vedavyasa Chiranjeevi acts. And then there is a gap between Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jagannath Das Babaji of 320 years. So in between they were regular gurus, but they were not Paramahamsa Acharyas, which are not mentioned. When Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur both were asked this question, that why is it that there is gap? He said, no, only prominent acharyas have been picked up. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also has the same answer, Prabhupada also has the same answer. Correct? Something new in correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So this is new. In fact, I didn't know. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Das Babaji are like a huge gap.
Yes, Prabhu.
20 years. I did not know. Did you know that? It's a huge gap. So the point is that they will be regular gurus in between, but they're not mentioned. So that's what ISKCON is saying, that there should be, like just like Udupi Matha, they have some kind of a regular gurus who do Diksha and all, but your focus remains on Madhvacharya. Similarly, Shiva Vaishnavas, they don't stop their Sampradaya. They do regular Diksha is going on, but the focus remains on Ramanujacharya. So ISKCON, what is presently following is a similar system, and it's under discussion because finally large organization has to work by consensus. So I also being now part of ISKCON, I accept to the consensus, but at the same time I see it's in discussion. The devotees are still discussing. In fact, there are rounds of meetings going in ISKCON trying to understand what is the best way to fine tune it. But this general consensus that all the sampradayas do have somebody called a regular guru, but the focus remains on the Sampradaya Acharya. Just like Srila Prabhupada is called a Sampradaya Acharya. He is a founder Acharya. Like that. So there is a discussion. But this is clear, but if you look, say, the Prabhupada says the important symptom visible after initiation by bona fide spiritual master is that there is a tangible change in the life. You see, it already occurred in our lives. Srila Prabhupada is already independent, just like Mahavishnu created Brahma without even waiting for. No, sorry, Garbhodakasha Vishnu created Brahma even waiting for Lakshmi, correct? He did not wait. He created. The same way Srila Prabhupada is acting independent of all your what setups you keep discussing. He is not waiting. He is delivering everybody, in his transcendental way. He is delivering. And it is not possible. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahe Parivartana. The transcendental energy of the Lord, like Chit Shakti, the knowledge potency of the Lord. Prabhupada said once, he says, see the magic, you got knowledge. And it took a lot of time for me to understand what is Prabhupada saying. See the magic, you got knowledge. He says in a lecture, see the magic, you got knowledge. But actually it's a magic. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Parivartana, the transcendental knowledge potency of the Lord is manifested in your heart. It can only happen when a bona fide spiritual master is acting. He is acting directly or he is acting through his representative. That's a separate issue. You can act either way. Correct? Just like you meet somebody, and even if you're not given him proper book, he can be delivered. But then you should be sincerely following Prabhupada, strictly following the rules and regulations. Prabhupada will use as an instrument and deliver somebody through you. That is possible. But action belongs to him. Krishna, he is the one who is delivering, and we become instrument in his hand. Okay? He has been given the power of attorney. Anybody tries to follow him, listen to him submissively, deliver him. He can deliver directly or using his representatives. Just like in Europe, what happened, devotees said, Prabhupada, so many people are chanting Hare Krishna, but how they have received the Mahamantra? Mahamantra is to be received from an Acharya, no? The Prabhupada said, no, yes, you are my representatives, so they are listening for me only. So, like that. Okay. At least this is clear that already somebody has acted in our life because we see there has been a tangible change in our life. Prabhupada has already acted. Okay? More things are still, I cannot conclude because Vaishnavas are sitting and in a very good spirit trying to understand and trying to get perfect conclusion. Okay. I was only the son of my mother, who was not only a simple woman but a maidservant as well. Since I was her only offspring, she had no alternative. Other alternative protection bound me with a tie of affection. 7. She wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but because she was not independent, she was not able to do anything for me. The world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of the puppet master. When I was a mere child of 5 years, I lived in a Brahmana school. I was dependent on my mother's affection and had no experience of different lands. Text 9. Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out to milk a cow, was bitten in the leg by a serpent, influenced by the supreme time. Yes, Preeti, purpose.
That is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord.
It's not easy to take so easily. Just imagine a small child can see the will of the Lord, how much spiritually advanced he has to be. We had the discussion with Payal Mataji, this similar class. She was saying, what is funny thing? The 3 people of 5-year age were great devotees. One is Dhruva, 5-year great devotee. Prahlad, 5-year great devotee. And now Narada, 5-year great devotee. It's amazing at the 5-year age. Yes. Rekha Mataji, what is your child's age now? Oh, we can't hear you. What is his age now, Mataji?
He is now 4.5.
Oh, almost 5.
But previously, when he was 3.5, he used to go with me for classes. But now he has become, distracted. He doesn't want to go only. I don't know what has happened to him.
Must have given a tablet with games.
No, Prabhuji, I strictly follow. He is not given any tablets, nothing.
Oh. We were recently one of our congregation, and our daughter went to college, and she gave her a bundle of 100, envelopes. That in India, previously we used to write letter. So she said, "Mother, what?" She said, "My daughter, I'm not going to give you any mobile. So if you have anything to write to me, please send this letters and post. I will get after a few days." The daughter was shocked. So anyway, good. Actually, children are like that. Any condition you give, they will be happy. There is no need to pamper them and spoil. Any condition, you will make them to lie down on the floor, they will lie on the floor and keep laughing. They are happy in any condition. So it is always good to train them nicely and see they don't get exposed somehow to agents of Kali. Okay, now here, where Chaitanya is there? He's gone out playing now?
Telling Prabhuji is not visible. What are you talking?
We continue. So this is very interesting. Is that for a small child to take such a disaster, his mother has died in front of me, I have to take it positively. That is Krishna's will. It's extraordinary. This is extraordinary. Very, very extraordinary. Like, Prabhupada said, Bhaksanda Prabhupada, his guru, when he was also another 5-year-old, another 5-year-old, when he was a small 5-year-old boy, he took a mango from the kitchen. And as Bhaktivinoda Thakur scolded him, "What have you done? This mango was meant for offering to the Lord." He starved. For whole life, he has not taken mango. Prabhupada said that is extraordinary. For such a small child to have this kind of determination. These are all extraordinary symptoms which are shown by great souls. Prabhupada said that was a symptom of a great devotee of the Lord. To have such, whenever in old age, his disciples should bring him mango, he says, "No, I cannot take it." So why, Guru Maharaj? "No, I am an offender. I have offended the Lord. I have taken his offering." My God, this is extraordinary. So this looks to be completely an extraordinary symptom. True, Narada by his teachings definitely is extraordinary. But we can't understand sometimes the teaching. Then we can see the life. Look at the life. Isn't the life so extraordinary? I took the spatial mercy of the Lord was always desires benediction for his devotee. You see how extraordinary. He took it as spatial mercy at 5 years of age. And so thinking I started for the now. No remorse, nothing. He took it as mercy of Krishna and started. Yes, Preeti.
Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. What is considered to be an odd or difficult movement in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it.
First part you have understood now. And confidential, every step they see a benedictory direction of the Lord. What wording, what a wording. Like, Lord, Prabhupada says sometimes, he said, I don't know how to write, but a guru told me you write. And, he was writing, but I don't know how he's writing such kind of lines. Every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. Even a poet will be ashamed to see such kind of, prose going on. What is considered to be odd or difficult moment in mundane is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Generally very odd or a difficult moment for any small child. No father is visible, only mother, and she has been killed by a snake. It's a very difficult moment for the small child, but he took it as a special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of, now the second part is something interesting. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever. It's kind of a fever. We have seen many people, when they become opulent, they become mad. Prabhupada says too much money causes madness. Too much money. You see, they become completely insensitive and mad. My personal experience is that. Very rich people, not rich, very rich people, they almost become mad. You will find hardly any one of them Krishna conscious. Therefore, the Devatas also like to come on earth because their position there, they're extremely opulent. And they find it very difficult in that to become serious to practice Krishna consciousness. Mundane prosperity is the kind of mental fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of the mental fever is gradually diminished. And the spiritual health is obtained step by step. So every step, as gradually you become relieved, not that you get relief from opulence, you become detached from material opulence. Your health is retained step by step. And Prabhupada is saying something interesting here. Mundane people misunderstand it. Just like in Srila Prabhupada's life himself, he took a very humble position that he was attached to his. We know he's a Senapati, he's a eternal estate of Lord Chaitanya. But the life is so arranged, he'll never say that. Prabhupada will always take a humble mood. He said, my Guru Maharaj dragged me. I was so attached to my household of life. He was regularly coming in my dreams and saying, take sannyas, take sannyas, take sannyas. He said, my Guru dragged me. Correct? He took a very humble position. But actually there is something very interesting here. He says, I lost everything. All my possessions were taken away. My business crashed and everything crashed. Correct? There was a theft also at his factory. He was like, Prabhupada says, some people said that by my horoscope I could have become like Birla. But, Krishna built something else for it. He just dragged him out of the whole thing. And he said, he was in Vrindavan. He left everything. Then he came to Vrindavan and he said, I have a list of my relatives' names. But it is just a list. Nobody is interested in me now because I have no money now. Prabhupada is laughing. And then he's thanking Krishna. You brought me to this financial insolvent condition. What is a bankruptcy? But generally people, they say, Prabhupada says, mundane people misunderstand it when they get such a situation. Rather they curse the God. But a devotee sometimes can see a benedictory direction of the Lord in such situations. Okay, take up my work. What are you doing? There is interesting, we had the Bhaktivinoda Thakur a remembrance recently. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has a conversation in his dream with Jagannatha deity. You know that? And he reveals that, he says that, my Lord, Jagannath says, I didn't bring you to Jagannath Puri just to do all this legal work. So he says, my Lord, your whole mission is so deprecated now, what can I do? So like that they have a discussion. They see always direction. They see the will of the Lord. After my departure, I passed through many flourishing metropolises, towns, villages, animal farm, mines, agricultural land, valleys, flower garden, nursery gardens, and natural forest.
Man's activities in agriculture, mining, farming, industries, gardening, etc. were all on the same scale as they are now, even previous to the present creation, and the same activities will remain as they are. Even in the next creation, after many hundreds of millions of years, one creation is started by the law of nature, and the history of the universe repeats itself practically in the same way. The mundane wranglers waste time with archaeological excavation without searching into the vital necessities of life. After getting an impetus in spiritual life, Shri Narad Muni, even though a mere child, did not waste time for a single moment with economic development. Although he passed towns and villages, mines and industries, he continually went on to progressive spiritual emancipation. Srimad Bhagavatam is a repetition of history which happened some hundreds of millions of years ago. As it is said herein, only the most important factors of history are picked up to be recorded in this transcendental literature. Mining, farming, industries.
Prabhupada says many times the point that when you look at Puranas for history, don't expect that they will do date by date, this year, this year, this year. They're not doing like that. They are Puranas, if you see, they take up histories just for the purpose of, they are taking up history just for the purpose of instruction. What they have to do this year, they said is cyclic. Another mistake with the modern science attitude about history, they don't understand a cyclic aspect, where every manvantara at the end there may be a destruction, where at the end of Brahma's day there is a destruction and forgiveness. They are looking one way, they are thinking one big bang happened and then now we are the top advanced species. But actually this is going on. So this many Kaliyugas are passed and many crazy people have done all kind of activities. Many Satyugas are passed, many Treta Yugas are passed, cycling going on. So he is passing through the cities and all he sees. Correct? But towns, villages, animal farms, mines. Probably say, what are you so excited about? We're seeing your so-called developed civilization. All these kind of things have happened before. So Narad did not waste his time in that way. Okay. And the Prabhupada is taking dig at them, wasting time with archaeological excavations. What you'll understand. Prabhupada says they simply after bones. This like dogs are after bones. You cannot understand anything. So he got an impetus in spiritual life from whom? The sages. Even though a mere child, just imagine his realization. He's only a 5-year-old boy. He did not waste time a single moment with how to economic development proper, because we are all absorbed in that economic development. He didn't waste a single moment in that. Even though he passed towns and villages, he didn't think about all this. He went on with the progressive spiritual realization. So our primary objective, we cannot imitate Narada. Leave everything and work just for spiritual objective, but at least primary objective of life is progressive spiritual emancipation. How do I keep advancing in spiritual life should remain a primary objective of my life. Okay? So Prabhupada says there's a history has happened millions of years ago. So because this is actually in previous Kalpa, previous day of Brahma. So it's a very, very old instance when Narada is talking. Because Brahma sleeps for 4.32 billion years. Not a sleep. I was just studying. Brahma goes to Yoga Nidra. Okay? And not like us. He doesn't snore like us. He goes into for a long time by the will of the Lord. Otherwise, I was wondering why he needs 12 hours sleep. Because all of us are supposed to do with 5 to 6 hours of sleep. Why he has his luxury? He doesn't have the luxury. He's in Yoga Nidra. He's a very advanced situation. He cannot compare to us, his body or his situation. So some 100. So that means his night is 4.32 billion years. So this incidence is at least billions of years before. So it's still Narada. So now let us go to the next. I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, and copper, and through tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flower, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. Text 13. Then I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bushes, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which are very difficult to go alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerous, fearful forests, which were the play yards of snake, owls, and jackals.
It is the duty of a mendicant, Parivragacharya, to experience all varieties of God's creation by traveling alone through all forests, hills, towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all these risks without fear. And the most typical sannyasi of the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who travelled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snake, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyasa is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda is a different man from the original ideal sannyasi. One should, however, take the vow to stop social intercourse completely and devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of a sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasis should not change their former names. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, in this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the Lord is strongly recommended, and one who takes the vow of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivragacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but may sit down at some holy place and devote his whole life and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by great acharyas like the six Goswamis of Vrindavan.
Something amazing, and we have the instructions of Acharya here. Prabhupada is saying that just like Narada has gone through the wild forest, even Lord Chaitanya did that, and like Lord Chaitanya not only passed, he even converted so many animals to Krishna consciousness. You know the pastime? Yes, Rekha Mata, you know the pastime, Jarikanda pastime.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
So now here, we know this happened, but Prabhupada is saying don't try to do that. You know that joke that happened during Durga Puja in Calcutta? None of you know. See what happened, one man entered a cage where a tiger was there. He jumped inside the cage with the Aarti plate on Durga Puja. Durga's Vahana is who? Tiger. Okay? And he jumped inside to do Aarti for the tiger, and the tiger ate him up. Can you imagine the joke? Durga Puja. He took the Durga Prasad and the tiger and he ate it. So now we should not try to imitate. Right? Prabhupada is saying don't try to go to dangerous forests like this. But what is expected of you? Now this is key. This everybody cannot speak this. An acharya is speaking. He is giving order. In this age, now Prabhupada is giving application of this as get renunciation of family life, become detached from my grandson is doing that, my son is doing, get detached from all these things, okay, and sit down in a holy place, okay, or in a temple, and devote time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures, just like you're reading Bhagavatam. All day sit down, chant, read. That's what Prabhupada says we should do by the great six Goswamis of Vrindavan. We have Srila Prabhupada has given the books representing them. So basically focus on hearing the message of the great acharyas and sit down in a place. But don't try to imitate Narada or Lord Chaitanya. Say, I will also go to dense forest. In India, particularly, Naxalites will catch you. There are so many, so you will not have any. I passed through hills and mountains full of reservoirs of various minerals like gold, silver, copper, and through tracts of land with reservoirs of water filled with beautiful lotus flower, fit for the denizens of heaven, decorated with bewildered bees and singing birds. I then passed alone through many forests. How come this is coming again? Sorry. 48. Thus traveling, I felt tired, both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in a river lake and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. Yes, Mataji.
A traveling mendicant can meet the needs of the body, namely the thirst and hunger, by the gifts of nature without being a beggar at the door of the householders. The mendicant therefore does not go to the house of a householder to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually. Prabhu, you are muted.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, now you see gifts of the nature. If you live, suppose we have Prabhupada said, no, open so many farms. So basically, the whole idea is we live by the gifts of the nature, and we are completely insulated from the anxieties of this world. And the petrol has become costly, petrol has become cheap. We are independent of all. We have our completely existence is taken care of. True for a pure devotee, anyway the Lord maintains it. But this was gifts of nature are the one source for maintenance. Prabhupada is so simple, no? Just drank little water. As I don't be a beggar at the doors of the householders. When mendicants used to travel in Vedic times, they used to travel to enlighten and spiritual. This is, we can say, a luxury asset of a pure devotee. Okay, we go to the next portion now. After that, under the shadow of a banyan tree in an uninhabited forest, I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within, using my intelligence as I had learned from the liberated souls. Yes, Preeti Mataji.
Follow the liberated souls. One should not meditate according to one's personal whims. One should know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of scriptures, through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master, and by proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service unto the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Naradji contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightenment rightly. Thus he began to meditate.
The same way, you say that I want to chant very nicely, attentively. You cannot do that unless you have the blessings of Prabhupada. Unless you have a taste, you cannot chant. Correct? So a taste doesn't come artificially by mechanical process. It comes when you're satisfied. We have served the Lord, we have served the Acharyas, we have served the Vaishnavas, we have served the holy dhams, we have served the deities, so many ways, and it's all connected. You cannot just say that I don't do other things and suddenly I'll get this. No. Same way Prabhupada is saying, the spiritual life is not whimsical. It has to be guided, number one. And we have got, through the transparent medium of bona fide spiritual master. Transparent because they express whatever they write, just like Prabhupada says in the previous purport, that instead of roaming in the forest, sit down and read the scriptures, not an order. Transparent. It's a direction of Krishna coming to the Acharya. So to carry out now Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya, when we are actually serving an Acharya, what happens? The order of the spiritual master, when you do, you get advanced. Okay? When the pleasure of Prabhupada says human reasoning fails to understand how this can happen. By serving an Acharya, how is it you develop faith in the Lord or by faith in the scripture? But it is true. It is mystical. It is mystical, no. The Naradji contacted bona fide spiritual master, served them sincerely and got enlightened rightly. Okay. So he had served them Bhaktivedanta, so he was blessed by them and he began to meditate. As I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, with my mind transformed into transcendent love, tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, appeared on the lotus of my heart. Some more guests joined us. Okay. Yes, Preeti Mataji.
The word bhava is significant here. This bhava stage is attained after one has transcendental affection for the Lord. This first initial stage is called Shraddha. The first initial stage is called Shraddha, or a liking for the Supreme Lord, and in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. The third stage is to practice the prescribed rules and regulations of the devotional service. This will dissipate all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper progress in devotional service. When all misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is a standard faith in transcendental matter, and the taste for it increases in greater proportion. This stage leads to attraction, and after this there is bhava, or the prior stage of unalloyed love for God. All the above different stages are but different stages of development of transcendental love. Being so surcharged with transcendental love, there comes a strong feeling of separation, which leads to 8 different kinds of ecstasies. Tears from the eyes of a devotee is an automatic reaction, and because Sri Narad Muni in his previous birth attained that stage very quickly after his departure from home, it was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of the Lord, which he tangibly experienced by his developed spiritual senses without material tinge. Prabhu, you're on mute.
Thanks. Okay, now this is extraordinary that he just sat down for meditation. Narada, the Lord came in his heart because he was advanced so much. He was so advanced. Even similarly here in the life of Bharat Maharaj also, when he went to the forest to meditate, tears of love for Krishna rolled, and he was already in the bhava stage. Similarly, Narada also is advanced, and similarly, like Bharat Maharaj is still not perfected. Therefore, some statements will come now from the Lord. So what is happening is mind is transformed by love, and see how advanced it is. Tears rolled down my eyes. These are not, artificial. They're out of genuine affection for the Lord. And without delay, the personality of Godhead appeared on the lotus of my heart. It's so fortunate. Oh, something can happen. I have to come back. Now, these are all Prabhupada has taken. Is a bhava, most similar. It's very interesting. This is the word bhava is significant here. Where is the word bhava? Did you locate the word bhava?
In the purport.
It's not in the shloka. No, it's in the shloka. It's there in the 16th shloka. Even similar than in the same stage as in Bharat Maharaj. He is also the bhava stage of the same. Preeti, did you see the analysis?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Because Bharat Maharaj also said he was in the bhava stage, and Prabhupada is saying here. This shloka shows he was in the bhava stage. So advanced. Bhava is just one stage now, one stage before prema. You get transcendental affection for the Lord. So, see, you don't know when. So anyway, the stages, initial is, this is the Navavidha, this is, what we can say is Navavidha Bhakti. We have the first thing is Shraddha. Initial, Prabhupada defines here this stages very nicely in a very personal way. Many times people misunderstand Shraddha. Shraddha is initial liking for the Lord. Because, just like it drastically differs from where the science is trying to understand the abstract truth. There is no liking for the Lord in the beginning. But here it begins with liking. We are approaching a person. And by all misfortune, science is trying to approach energy as, the final answer. So misfortune, unfortunate. But here we know it's not an energy, it's a person who is the Sarva Karana Karana. Right? So therefore, the spiritual life begins with initial liking for the Lord, and it's not easy to get that. This comes by Agya Sukriti, by a good association, and Agya Sukriti, it comes Shraddha, initial liking for the Lord. So it's not easy. And then the next stage is one has to associate with the pure devotee of the Lord, just like we are on Shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Next. Then third stage is practice rules and regulations. You get orders of Srila Prabhupada, chant 16 rounds, read my books, follow 4 regulative principles, get up for Mangalarti, you get the third stage. And then they said, this what will happen if you follow the third stage, prescribed rules and regulations, all misgivings, personal deficiencies will remove, which hamper progress in devotion service. Again, spent very personally, It's not a mechanical procedure. Misgivings and deficiencies about the Lord will be removed. And then there is the standard faith, that's nishtha. And then you get ruchi, you get some taste in a greater proportion. Then it leads to, what is the next stage to ruchi? Asakti, further attraction for the Lord. And then there is bhava. The prior stage, anula, love of God. Just one stage before, love of God. And different development of transcendent love. And being so such as Prabhupada said, there is something now more. He is experiencing that, he can speak. Leads to 8 different kind of ecstasies, different kind of separation. I met so many sannyasis, they all say, Srila Prabhupada, man. We could not understand. He was not part of this world. His whole consciousness was filled with all the different, he was not with us. We knew he was with us, but his heart is surcharged with transcendental energy of the Lord. The Yogamaya is completely, Mahatmanastu Maham Partha, Yogamaya Samavrita. So in Yogamaya, all these things happen, all this kind of ecstasy and like that. Automatic this reaction. At that time, being extremely overpowered by feeling of happiness, every part of my body became separately illumined and being absorbed in the ocean of ecstasy. I could not see both myself and the Lord.
Spiritual feelings of happiness and intense ecstasies have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expression to such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in the words of Sri Narad Muni. Each and every part of the body or senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses became fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated state, the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it so happened that the senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This being so, Narad Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously.
Again, muted, Prabhuji. They are not
Oh
listening
yeah,
anything.
Prabhu, you are muted.
So basically what has happened, he has gone into a stage of transcendental ecstasy, madness. All the senses are, Prabhupada is saying, got excited to serve the Lord. The Krishna is the Rishikesha. So all the transcendental senses rather have become now completely speaking transcendental madness, where he is not, is basically is so much happiness awakened in the whole body system that experience some transcendental ecstasy. The transcendental form of the Lord, as it is satisfied, the mind desires and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing the form, I suddenly got of being perturbed, and as is usual when one loses that which is desirable.
That the Lord is not formless is experienced by Narad Muni, but his form is completely different from all forms of our material experience. For the whole duration of our life, we go see different forms in the material world, but none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind, nor can any one of them banish the protuberance of the mind. These are the special features of the transcendental form of the Lord, and one who has once seen that form is not satisfied with anything else. No form in the material world can any longer satisfy the seer. That the Lord is formless or impersonal means that he is nothing like a material form and is not like any material personality. As spiritual beings having eternal relations with that transcendental form of the Lord, as we are, life after life, searching after that form of the Lord, and we are not satisfied by any other form of material appeasement. Narad Muni got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desire life after life was obtained by Narad Muni, and losing sight of him again was certainly a great shock for him.
Correct? Can you see that? I was when I was reading this purport, I was shocked actually. What a line here is. What we desire, life after life, was obtained by Narada. Actually, life after life, billions of lives, we are again waiting to see Krishna, and Narada saw him. Correct? And when you saw him, just imagine, if you see him, by good fortune, what will happen? It will be a shock for you if you lose it. Because such transcendental happiness. You see that now always in the bus, they're looking for a window seat. In a train, we look for a window seat. Even in an aeroplane, we look for a window seat. Correct? Somebody climbs into the bus. Somebody climbs, you're sitting in a bus, somebody climbs, you're looking, who is he? Actually, you can subconsciously, you are searching for somebody, all of us. Okay, yogis used to understand that they're not in the middle world, therefore they used to go to forest to meditate like Narada used to. Because they know that person, like Parikshit Maharaj also, you see, childhood he saw the Lord. Correct? He saw the Lord when he was a small child, and whole life he was searching, therefore he was given the name Parikshit. So we are all searching to see the Lord again. And proper this. He's in a separation from the Lord, actually. He is pure devotee to the Lord, intense separation. Therefore, he's saying, what you're searching, life after life was obtained by Narada. And losing sight of that, it was a great shock. And Prabhupada says, for so many things he has said, correct? Whole life, we are all seeing so many forms, but none of them are able to satisfy the mind. Correct? We have the distinction, this is beautiful. Even how do you define beauty? Beauty means Krishna. And anything which is near Krishna is beautiful. Anything which is away from Krishna is not beautiful. I don't understand any other definition of beauty. There is no other definition. Beauty means anything looks like Krishna. Otherwise, how do you say you remove a nose or something? Biologically, you can make a person function. But it is horrible to see. So it is philosophically has been a great difficulty to understand truth and beauty together. Truth and beauty are contradictory. But that truth and beauty are not contradictory when you come to Krishna. Krishna is the absolute truth and Krishna is the absolute beauty. Okay? So Narada, when he saw that contradiction dissolved and he saw real beauty of the Lord, just imagine what fortune waits one day when we see that. One more portion, we do one more portion, Preeti?
Yes, Prabhu.
What is the time now, your place? 11 o'clock?
Yes, Prabhu.
If not disturb your sadhana tomorrow? Or tomorrow is Sunday for you?
No. Yes, Prabhu. I'm working.
Okay, 5 more minutes here also. I desire to see again that transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart, with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore. Thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved.
There is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the cause. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before our vision, just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. The sun rises out of his own accord. So also the Lord is pleased to be present out of his causeless mercy. One should simply await the opportune moment and go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord. Narad Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely independent of all obligations. He can be the tie of unalloyed devotion. Nor is he visible or perceivable by our material senses. When he pleases, being satisfied with the service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord.
Okay, now there are so many things here. It's such a beautiful purpose. So it says it depends on the, what does it depend? It depends on the complete, there is no mechanical process. You know? You think, well, now we are doing not meditation, we are doing chanting. You say, Hare Krishna, and I will see the Lord. No, sir. You can chant like that for billions of years. It depends on the causeless mercy of Krishna. Even though you do sadhana perfectly, finally Krishna has to accept. If you cannot accept, it's all over. He says they cannot demand a Lord to be present before a Vishnu. Just as they cannot demand the sun to rise in the morning. So beautiful. Prabhupada says keep doing devotion service patiently and simply await that opportunity. So not that we are not desiring that. We should not forget the goal sometimes. Okay, chal raha hai spiritual life, not the chal raha hai. I want to see Krishna face to face. We should wait for the opportunity moment and go on discharging the prescribed duty in devotion. But don't think you see Krishna then you don't see. Okay? You will see means one day you will see. Narada thought the Lord would be again, but actually Krishna came to Narada that was very special, where he just came to encourage him. Narada thought that the Lord could be seen again by mechanical process, successful in the first step, but in spite of the utmost endeavor, he could not make the second step successful. Seeing my attempt at the lonely place, the personality of Godhead who is transcendent to all mundane descriptions spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words just to mitigate my fear.
In the Vedas, it is said that God is beyond the approach of mundane words and intelligence. And yet, by His causeless mercy, one can have suitable senses to hear Him or to speak to Him. This is the Lord's inconceivable energy. One upon whom His mercy is bestowed can hear Him. The Lord was much pleased with Narad Muni, and therefore the necessary strength was invested in him so that he could hear the Lord. It is not, however, possible for others to perceive directly the touch of the Lord during the probationary stage of regulative devotional service. It was a special gift for Narada. When he heard the pleasing words of the Lord, the feelings of separation were to some extent mitigated. A devotee in love with God always feels always the pangs of separation and is therefore always enwrapped in transcendental ecstasy. A devotee in love with God.
So Prabhupada says many times his words, purports are his transcendental ecstasies, correct? So somewhere he reveals his heart. He sees the devotee feels always pangs of separation. And he says just by hearing the sound, to some extent the separation will become mitigated. This is not our consciousness. This is consciousness of exalted devotee. We can hardly understand what Prabhupada is telling now. Theoretically we can understand, but it is beyond our realm of approach. So once you can hear the Lord, just like many times Prabhupada used to say, I didn't write this book. You know that? Once Prabhupada was sitting and reading the book all day. One devotee came, Prabhupada, why are you reading your own book? Prabhupada said, I didn't write this book. So Krishna is dictating. Hardly access to that. So generally I told you it's a special gift we got. We are all in the probationary stage. This generally does not happen. You will not see the Lord in a probationary stage. It was when you see the Lord, you see Him for all the time. If you actually advance Shraddha, Sadhu, Sangha, when you come to Prema, then Krishna appears and then you are with Krishna all the time. Now you are going to see and not see. But this was a special gift that Narada got because he sincerely had served the great sages. He got a special gift. Small boy, Krishna took a special mercy on him and he showed himself and then he spoke also. Oh Narada, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material things can hardly see me. Yes.
The personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad Gita as the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. There is no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person, and thus one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the signs of being freed from karma, lust, and lobha, covetousness. That is to say, one must be freed from the desires for sense satisfaction and avarice for sense gratification. The balanced mode of nature is goodness. And to be completely freed from all material tinge is to become free from mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. One can go out into the forest to attain spiritual perfection, but that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, which alone will help the devotee get in personal touch with the Lord, with the personality of Godhead. The best method is that one should live at a place where the transcendental form of the Lord is worshipped. The temple of the Lord is a transcendental place, whereas the forest is a materially good habitation. A neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Archana, rather than to go into the forest to search out the Lord. Devotional service begins from the process of Archana, which is better than going out in the forest. In his present life, which is completely free from all material hankerings, Sri Narad Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. He travels from one planet to another to convert men, gods, kinnaras, gandharvas, rishis, munis, and all others to become devotees of the Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruv Maharaj, and many others in the transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord, therefore, follows the footsteps of the great devotees like Narada and Prahlad, and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of kirtan. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. Prabhu, you are muted.
He says, arati means deserves. Correct? There is a shloka, comes in many shloka. Arati means deserve. So you say you don't deserve to see me like this. Why? Apakwa. You're not right. Mango is kacha now. You're not fully ripe in devotion. Okay? And kashaya, so many. You are a kuyogi. Kuyogi means yogi. You're not a yogi now. You are a kuyogi. So this line is very important. Those are incomplete in service or not completely free from material things. That is our condition now. We can sometimes feel hopeless. Why I'm not seeing Krishna? But then look at ourselves. I'm incomplete in service. I'm not completely free from material things. Okay, therefore I cannot see Krishna. I don't deserve to see Krishna. We need qualifications. Anything you want, you need qualification. You wanted to do MS, you need an MBBS. You need some qualification. So similar to Sri Krishna, we need qualification. Prabhupada is not taking our condition. He's saying at least two modes be free. He's dealing with Kaliga souls. Rajoguna, Tamoguna, what are you talking if you want to see Krishna? But still in Rajoguna, Tamoguna, be free from Kama. And then there was a devotee wrote to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, I want to become Guru. So Prabhupada wrote back, that's fine, but nectar of instruction first shloka says we should be free from 6 things, correct, to become a Jagat Guru. And one of the things is we should be free from sex desire. So he didn't write to Prabhupada again. That is to say, one is free from the desires and avarice. This is interesting. Attraction, repulsion, both we should be free from. That is called goodness. And then Prabhupada starts glorifying Narada. Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam also says, no, we are so happy Shri Naradaji has appeared in the pages of Bhagavatam. He welcomes when Naradaji appears in Bhagavatam. Shri Naradaji has, you read that line? Shri Naradaji has kindly appeared on the pages of Bhagavatam.
Yes.
This is the last shloka we do now. Oh virtuous one, you have only once seen me, my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me. Because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be free from all material desires.
A living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He must be working, thinking, feeling, and willing. But when he thinks, feels, and wills materially, he becomes entangled. And conversely, when he thinks, feels, and wills for the service of the Lord, he becomes gradually freed from all entanglement. The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires a hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. Material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. One can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation or end. By intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendentally. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in his service because his service and his person are identical. The sincere devotee should go on with sincere service of the Lord. The Lord will give proper direction as to how and where it has to be done. There was no material desire in Narada, and yet just to increase his intense desire for the Lord, he was so advised. Prabhu, you're on mute.
Yeah, come on. I'm just reading the purport again. So anyway, material service is satiation. Prabhupada says many times, the supply is unlimited. In the spiritual word, it says the devotee's desire to serve the Lord is unlimited, and in the Lord also reciprocates unlimited. There is never a satiation. And by intense service of the Lord, if you want to feel the presence of the Lord, how you can feel Prabhupada revealed? By intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendentally. We have to increase the intensity. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in service. Why? Because service and person are identical. Interesting. Very interesting. The sincere devotee, Prabhupada says, go on with your sincere service to the Lord. Lord will give you direction. How, where it has to be. That you should not be your botheration. Our botheration is to think that my desire to serve Krishna is sincere. And how to do, when to do everything Krishna is. And then in Narada's condition, already in a Bhava stage, as we previously. So there is no material desire in him, but just Krishna wanted to increase his hankering for it. So he did this drama of coming and going. Okay, I think. Yes, Rekha Mataji, she has an appetite. She wants to hear whole Bhagavatam one day. She was asking me, what, only one chapter at a time? It is going so slow. We stop here, Rekha Mataji, fine.
So today we are finishing just half the chapter.
Huh?
Today we will be finishing just half the chapter.
Yeah, 22 is roughly the half of the chapter. But what to do? Already we have started program below. I don't want to be late. Okay.
Yes,
what do you want, Rekha Mataji? Can we make it a little more earlier?
yes, sure.
Next time? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Tell me some solution. Because
Yes, sir.
we need around 2 hours if you want to finish the chapter. You need,
yes,
in fact, with Payal Mataji, I finished because I start 10 o'clock. No, we could not finish sometimes, but we go till 12:30. So it takes 2 hours class. So if we start at, say, instead of 7:30, 6:30, it is convenient for Preeti also because it is early. Isn't it, Preeti?
Yes, Prabhu, I'm fine with that.
Earlier is better
9
for
o'clock here.
Anna, instead of 10
Yes,
o'clock,
Prabhu.
we are making her do night out. Preeti is doing night out today. So we can make little earlier. So what is the time which is practical? Because you are a housewife, you have some responsibility. What 5 o'clock morning? Huh? 6:45. 6:45. 6:45. You tell me. Think and tell me.
Yes, sir.
No, if it is 7, we are ready for 7. If it is 6:45, we are ready for 6. If it is 6:30, we are ready for 6:30. If it is 6 o'clock, we are ready for 6 o'clock. You tell us what time is convenient.
6:30 probably.
6:30. Okay, 6:30. Preeti is fine with you, Preeti?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hey, then what happened? Your Rekha Mataji, one of your friend was there. Your teacher know how to come on hangout. Neha.
Prabhuji, I think she's not much interested. I mean, she is more intelligent than me. I was telling her that, come on, you are more intelligent. You cannot hang out. That is such a simple thing. I don't know, Prabhuji. I will today also.
You two can connect with each other and just
We already connected, Prabhuji. She got connected with me.
hangout. She knows, huh?
Yeah, she knows very well.
But she's getting message every time. I have to go with her, but I've not removed her. See?
ठीक है, sir. Prabhuji, I will again speak to her.
Try. Don't miss any person. Okay,
Yes,
today now some people are with me. I'll introduce them. You know Anantara?
Hare Krishna.
You can see them. Anantara, you remember him? Rishi Mataji, he was an expert harmonium flute player. Yeah. You remember him, right? And his sister has come and she is in Gulf. She's standing 16 rounds, very active there.
Oh. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hi, Krishna. Hi,
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.